Minister of TEAT talks about Caribbean Tourism Month. Political agreement between Curacao and the Netherlands was signed today. And Minister of Justice talks about the domestic violence policy that is being worked on. Those are the headlines from Monday, November the 2nd, 2020. Good evening, viewers. This is SXM Daily News, and I'm Valerie Compton. And as usual, we have a full newscast for you this evening, so let's get started. In our first story, as the month of November has been designated as a Domestic Violence Awareness Month, the Ministry of Justice has been very busy with a number of priorities. SXM Daily News was able to talk with the Minister of Justice, the Honorable Anna Richardson, Patricia Richardson, who is the coordinator of domestic violence issues with KPSM, Ms. Sandra Whitfield of the Prosecutor's Office, and Ms. Cassandra Richardson, former director of Safe Haven and co-founder of the Wildflower Institute, spoke to our news department about domestic violence. Minister of Justice Anna Richardson tells us about the policy that they are working on getting enacted.
Ms. Rose Fleming from the VSI is one of the initiators that helped develop the policy some years ago for domestic violence. Not sure as to the reasoning as to why it has not been enacted yet, but nevertheless, as minister, it is my utmost interest to be able to have this enacted within the coming weeks. So a task force has been put together between the two ministries, and that interministerial working relationship should bring us to that finish line. The policy in itself is one of the regulations that the Ministry of Justice is obliged to have in place. We get graded by the Law Enforcement Council, and one of the grading points or subjects that we're supposed to make sure is in place is that of domestic violence policy. Unfortunately, the Ministry of Justice has been scoring quite low in this area, seeing that the policy is not in place. So I see it fit to use my grading schedule to identify all the subject matters that I should put focus to, and together with the team, get it going. So the policy in itself is being worked on in workshops by the task group. They will meet on a weekly basis, and they are taking the necessary steps to be able to have the policy finalized. And we're hoping that in this month, actually we're trying on for the November 25th, which is also my birthday, to sign the draft policy, and then we will turn it over to the prosecutor's office as well as the courts, and we're hoping that it will be in line with what it should so that it can be approved and then published in a National Gazette. By extension to that, we are working to have the establishment of the Victim Support Services. So it would embody the policy in itself to have the victim support services established, whereby lending or providing, I should say, that needed support to victims and their families of traumatic experiences.
And the Ministry of Justice is also working on establishing a victim support service unit, and the Minister of Justice elaborated on what that is all about.
Victim Support Services is known throughout the world as an organization or an institution where you have specialized individuals that understand trauma and persons that would go through a traumatic experience. It could be domestic violence, it could be fire to the home or loss of home due to fire, accident. I spent a day at the prosecutor's office when I first came in, and one of the discussions we had was about a victim that had been here on vacation and unfortunately experienced a very traumatic situation with her dad. And one of the things that she expressed was not having anyone consider what she was going through at the moment, giving her that console that she needed to walk her through the experience. And that stuck with me. Although before going in to spend the time with the prosecutor's office, I recognized it was missing and needed, but listening to the stories of victims and the prosecutor's office, for example, and even KPSM, trying their best to console individuals whilst focusing on catching the perpetrator. It's a big thing to do, and oftentimes too we look at the victims, but the parents of perpetrators in some instances as well need that support, because it's traumatic for them also that their loved one is involved in something that is beyond their recollection, their understanding, and being able to walk through what's going to happen on the other side of the coin is important also. So that's what the victim support services will provide, that clinical and emotional support from a professional perspective, but considerate as well.
Meanwhile, a number of events has been planned to commemorate Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and Cassandra Richardson of the Wildflower Institute gave our news department the calendar of events for the month.
All over the world, the US, it's October. But because we also have so many things happening in October, which is breast cancer awareness, and November seems, I think, very appropriate since it's the prevention of violence against women and girls as well. So the calendar of events, I know that the Wildflower Institute is involved with some of them in bringing some awareness about domestic violence in fun and sort of also reflective ways. So I'm involved with a couple with doing presentations, helping a young lady who had done an artistic presentation that's going to be happening on the 3rd of November at the John Larmony Center in the evening. So when this airs, I hope that people will come out to see this, because it's quite beautiful and quite soulful, and which is also about teenage.
What's the time?
From 6 to 7:30 at the John Larmony Center. And the young lady's name is Deshawn. And then there is a yoga practice that's happening, time and the venue to be announced, but it will be early in the morning, and we are encouraging, even if you haven't tried yoga, that we really, really want people to come out and dedicate their practice towards the survivors and those that are surviving domestic violence, in order to just sort of bring an awareness about the issue. And then we will also do a soca dance session. We've been very thoughtful about that, so we're powering up with Calaboom to be able to do that. And we're looking at incorporating the dance with soca artists that are female, very strong soca artists that are female, that talk about prevention of domestic violence. So we're hoping men and women to really come out.
And SXM Daily News will have more with a panel of women that spoke to our news department regarding domestic violence in tomorrow's broadcast. And now in news out of Curacao, Prime Minister Eugene Roegenath and Undersecretary of the Interior and Kingdom Relations Raymond Knops arrived in Curacao Sunday afternoon. The government reported this in a press release. According to the government, last weekend, a lot of hard work was done to finalize the political agreement between Curacao and the Netherlands. This is an agreement in principle that regulates long-term support and financial supervision of the Netherlands. Roegenath was in the Netherlands recently, where he attended the Kingdom Council of Ministers meeting last Friday. Curacao has asked the Netherlands for financial support after the island entered an economic crisis due to the corona pandemic. At that time, Curacao did not agree with the conditions attached by the Netherlands to the aid. The Kingdom Act that will be implemented regulates the Entity for Reform and Development, OHO. The Kingdom Act is currently still with the Council of State and must also be approved by the Parliament of Curacao. After long negotiations and deliberations, an agreement has been reached that both governments can agree with. What the agreement exactly looks like is still confidential by agreement. However, the government reports that the political agreement between Curacao and the Netherlands was signed today. And still to come, President of the St. Martin Positive Foundation says in spite of COVID-19 restrictions, their plan is still to educate the community. We'll have the details to that story and much more when SXM Daily News returns.
GEBE has been faithfully serving the communities of St. Martin, powering your home and our economy. Come rain or shine, our qualified team of professionals are working hard 24 hours a day to provide you and your family with safe, reliable electricity and water. We use the latest technologies and test our products daily to maintain the highest international standards. Our friendly staff is always there to assist you, whether in person, over the phone, or online. We are committed to constantly improving our products and services, making them more efficient, effective, and environmentally friendly to serve you better today and our next generation of clients tomorrow. GEBE, powering a brighter future.
Our friend Megawati is here with tips to save you energy. 1. Turn your airco temperature up. 2. Use a ceiling fan instead. 3. Buy energy-saving products. Save some green with NVGEBE.
Welcome back, viewers. You're watching SXM Daily News, and I'm Valerie Van Putten. As we continue now with more news, President of the St. Martin Positive Foundation, Shelley Ann Alfonso, and President of the Electrolytes Foundation, Mercedes Wyatt, who collaborated this year and presented a number of posters to the St. Martin Medical Center in observation of Breast Cancer Awareness Month, told reporters recently that while it was a challenge with COVID-19, it was unfortunate not to be able to do the big events. But the plan is still to unite people.
Well, unfortunately, we were not able to do our big events that really reach out to the community of St. Martin. But Shelley and I, we are always thinking ahead to look for new and creative ways on how to reach out to people. Not because we didn't do our big events this year mean that we were dormant, we're never asleep. So we thought of this way for the COVID-19 world pandemic would be a great way to unite people by drugstores, by fitness places, anywhere that we could help people see and remind them that these posters were the way to go. But in the future, we will have a lot of things in the pipeline, that's for sure.
And of course, referring to the future, Shelley, it is my understanding that the Positive Foundation will be embarking on a year-long program.
This is the concept, and basically the poster is the first initiative in that drive in being able to do a year-long campaign. Already we're talking with a number of people within our community to be able to actually present and do lectures year-round. So we will let you know more about that as it progresses.
Now, as you end or wrap up this month long of activities, is there anything in the pipeline that you're looking forward to achieving before, well, the month is almost ended anyway?
Well, some things we have already achieved and some things are in the making. For example, I know people are already reaching out to us in terms of wanting to share their story. So maybe we can now address this issue of trying to start to break the taboo and have people talk more about their health situations and share. So we have that coming up. So as it evolves, we will keep you posted.
And of course, Shelley referred to trying to have people to break from the taboo. Are you sensing that we are heading in that direction, Electra?
Well, you know, working with the Positive Foundations for so many years, maybe over a decade right now, we have made an impact in the community. That we know for sure. But just the other night, as I sent her a WhatsApp message, and I told her, look at this personal message that I received. And it goes to show that even though we've done a lot of work, there's still so much work to be done, and the awareness never stops. So, you know, we will continue the good fight, and we are urging everybody to continue feeling it, fighting it, and finding it. And also, we want to thank the business community at large for always supporting the Positive and the Electrolytes Foundation to bring awareness to breast cancer in our St. Martin.
Thank you. Shelley?
Yes, definitely feel it, find it, and fight it. And for the men, man up, check up.
And as we continue now with more news, under the theme, The Caribbean Awaits, Caribbean Tourism Month is being observed this month. As a result, the Caribbean Tourism Organization, the CTO, its member countries, allied members, and Caribbean tourism interests will observe the month of November with a host of activities. This year's theme, The Caribbean Awaits, is a strong indication of the region's success in containing the spread of the coronavirus, taking the required steps to protect citizens and residents, conducting the required training to prepare our tourism and related frontline workers for the return of visitors, and putting their health protocols in place to reassure our potential visitors and residents that we take their health seriously, the Caribbean Tourism Organization said. The Honorable Minister of TEAT is Ludmila de Weaver. Speaking to the Voice of St. Martin's News Department in connection with the Caribbean Tourism Month, she said that in collaboration with the St. Martin Tourist Bureau, a video highlighting, among others, ecotourism agriculture development will be released.
It's not just me, though. It's also the St. Martin Tourist Bureau. They have been very busy organizing various events for Caribbean Tourism Day or month as well, because the day is tomorrow that we're releasing our video. But it is, given the circumstances, you can understand that we are a little bit limited in what we're doing, but we have some socially distanced and safe activities planned. So tomorrow you'll see that there'll be a video released from me as well as the director of the St. Martin Tourist Bureau, Mei-Ling Chung. And with that video, for the rest of the month, we will have placed a banner at the airport, and we will be organizing different quizzes and prizes. The callers can call in and win prizes to the radio stations, as well as one of the activities that's very popular and talked about a lot these days is agriculture. So we're doing an awareness, ecotourism, agriculture development videos, and promoting as well recycling, reducing our waste habits, and how we can combine that with composting gardens. And in terms of history and culture, we are also going to be advertising, all of the artists that participated in the mural for Phillipsburg. There's quite a bit planned. We're also seeing how we can incorporate some different events at all the marinas we have since our yachting season has started as well. So there's quite a bit of events planned, and you will see it on Facebook. We'll release it on the Ministry of TEAT website, and I'm pretty sure this week they will be sharing that with the rest of the radio stations and public.
Let me take you back to the video to be released on Tuesday. What will be the main highlight in this video?
So for mine, I can speak for mine. We're just talking about recognizing the importance of tourism in our region, for our island, the opportunities it has created, and ensuring that we all understand and respect that this tourism industry has brought significant economic growth for us and prosperity for our families, and how we will proceed in the future to do things in a safe manner with the climate change in mind, and just adapting the way that we've thought about tourism, but not really resenting tourism, more so celebrating.
And as we continue now in this COVID-related item, as of November the 1st, there were 5 persons who tested positive for COVID-19 on the island, increasing the total active cases to 56. The total number of confirmed cases is now 831. The Collective Prevention Services, CPS, are monitoring 51 people in home isolation. 4 patients are hospitalized at the St. Martin Medical Center, and 1 patient is isolated and is being monitored. The total number of deaths due to COVID-19 remains at 22. The number of people recovered since the first case surfaced on St. Martin remains at 753. 135 people are in quarantine based on contact tracing investigations carried out by CPS of persons who may have been in contact with any of the active cases. CPS has tested 1,211 travelers arriving at the Princess Juliana International Airport and 5,631 people throughout the community. And as the numbers continue to fluctuate, CPS will continue to actively execute its contact tracing measures. Continue to make the right choice and protect yourself and your loved one by maintaining the social distancing rule of 2 meters, practice good hand hygiene, and wear your mask in public. Now, turning to our weather forecast for November the 2nd, 2020, the Atlantic high pressure system will maintain a relatively stable atmosphere and gentle to moderate winds. Additionally, Saharan dust will continue to affect the region. Persons with respiratory illnesses and/or allergies should take the necessary precautions. The sea conditions will be moderate. Small craft operators and sea bathers should continue exercising caution. So the outlook through Wednesday, midday, fair to partly cloudy, breezy and hazy with isolated showers possible. Now, let's turn to your 3-day forecast. And still to come, Member of Parliament for the National Alliance says she hopes to see the plans that the minister presented executed. We'll have a detail to that story and more when SXM Daily News returns.
The innovative Banco Matico contactless smart card. Your Banco Matico smart card is now equipped with a contactless feature for payments, so get ready to tap and go. Contactless payments are fast, easy, secure, and accepted worldwide at all Maestro-enabled contactless terminals. Tap for transactions equivalent to or less than 100 NAF, or the US dollar equivalent. You will receive notifications via email anytime you tap. Tap, tap, and pay fast with WIB. For more information, visit our website at wib-bank.net. Tap and go with your partner in progress.
Welcome back, viewers. You're watching SXM Daily News. And as we continue with more news for you this evening, Member of Parliament for the National Alliance, the Honorable Solange Ludmilla Duncan, speaking at the parliamentary meeting of October the 26th, congratulated the Minister of TEAT on her presentation. However, the Member of Parliament says that while her presentation was comprehensive and enlightening, she hopes to see these plans that the Minister presented executed.
Mr. Chairman, as a small Caribbean nation, we are currently living in a state of vulnerability and flux. It is who we are now. We have to embrace that life is not as easy as it used to be. There will be hurricanes, there will be pandemics, there will be, God forbid, earthquakes. This is who we are. We are also dependent on tourism, dependent on food imports and foreign health care. We can be small, we can be vulnerable, but we can also be stronger than we currently are. And so I hope to see these plans that the minister presented today executed, because our people deserve better. They deserve better, especially after what they've received over the last decade. And so through you, Mr. Chairman, I would like to thank the Minister of TEAT for the very comprehensive presentation. It was quite enlightening. But I have to say this, our greatest resource is our people, And our people needs to be at the center of economic policy, fiscal policy, justice, education, every sort of policy coming out of government right now, the people need to be at the center of that policy. Okay, because when it stopped being about developing our people decades ago and developing profits and businesses, that's when we lost who we are as a St. Martin people. That's my belief. I have so much hope in our current ministers. But I must say that ministers, through you, Mr. Chairman, you have a great responsibility to innovate and do what those that came before you could not do. Why? Again, because our people deserve better. Mr. Chairman, I believe in protectionism for economic growth, specifically for new industries. So when it comes to certain industries, and the minister mentioned a couple of them, I believe that they should be protected in order to ensure that local entrepreneurs get a chance to be a little bit more successful than they have gotten, or the chances that they did not receive in the past.
And as we end this edition of SXM Daily News for this evening, As the appeals court rules in favor of Country St. Martin, Minister Doran calls this a huge win for the people of St. Martin. On Friday, October the 30th, 2020, the Court of Appeals rendered their judgment in favor of Country St. Martin in its case against Alegria Real Estate NV to suspend the judgment rendered on September the 4th, 2020. On September the 4th, 2020, the court in first instance, via the injunction judge, ruled that Country St. Martin had to issue the right of long lease land for a parcel of water for the duration of 60 years via a draft decree. Furthermore, if Country St. Martin did not comply with those orders, it was to face a penalty of 10,000 guilders per day until a maximum of 1 million guilders in fines had been reached. The defense of Country St. Martin, among other arguments presented to the court of first instance, was that Alegria's claims should have been deemed inadmissible as they went to the wrong court. In that case, the country's position was that Alegria should have initiated their claims to the administrative court for any perceived rights to said parcel and not the civil injunction court. The Minister of Public Housing, Spatial Planning, Environment and Infrastructure, VROMI, the Honorable Egbert J. Doran, previously disclosed his disagreement with the court's decision of September the 4th, 2020, of which an appeal was filed against said judgment. In addition to that, an urgent request to the Court of Appeals was filed to suspend the execution of the penalty of 10,000 guilders per day until a decision is made by the Court of Appeals. In their judgment on October the 30th, 2020, the Court of Appeals agreed with Country St. Martin that the decision of September the 4th, 2020 was indeed based on a misinterpretation of the applicable law and thus contained an apparent error. Therefore, the Court of Appeals ruled that Alegria's claims should have been deemed inadmissible as the basis of the claim found its root in an administrative authority law and not one of civil law. The minister informed that for the duration of the appeals process, Alegria can neither seek to force the country to issue the right of long lease for said water parcel, nor can Alegria seek to claim the fines that the judgment ordered if said decree was not issued. In addition, the Court of Appeals took note of the submitted decree issued by Minister Doran on October the 6th, 2020, wherein the request by Alegria to have said water parcel was denied. The Court of Appeals also pointed out that due to the fact that the Minister of VROMI never issued the right of long lease for said water parcel via his administrative authority, Alegria could not claim said right in court, nor could Alegria claim that they had an expectation that said right would be granted to them via the civil court. The Court of Appeals took note of the fact that in the meantime, an official decision was given by Minister Doran denying the request of Alegria, and as such, as was pointed out via the decree, Alegria can challenge that decision if they are not in agreement with it via the administrative. Now, despite the fact that the appeal of the decision of September the 4th, 2020 is still in process, the minister feels confident that the decision will also be in the country's favor. The refusal of the request by Alegria for rights of long lease for the water parcel means that there might still be litigation pending if Alegria chooses to challenge the denial of said right. Minister Doran expressed that this is a great win for the country and ensures to continue working in favor of the people of St. Martin. And with that, viewers, brings us to the end of this edition of SXM Daily News for this evening. I am Valerie Van Putten, and I thank you so much for joining me this evening. And just a reminder that this and other programs are available online. Simply log on to stmartinmediacenter.com for viewing. And on behalf of the SXM Daily News team, we thank you for watching and plan on meeting you right back here again tomorrow.